Hello friends, welcome to here. This is Amit Kumar. Today I am going to teach you Indian history. So, the topic is rise of nationalism in India. Okay? Rise of nationalism in India. Most important topic of the modern history, and but we have to understand, first of all, let us start with the word of nationalism. You heard about the nationalism? I think you always hear the nationalism in the debate, TV debate, and in other programs also. So, exactly what is the meaning of nationalism? So, I think nationalism is the emotion. You also think? But how? Because of exactly meaning of the nationalism is loyalty. What is the meaning? Meaning is loyalty, and devotion to a nation, to a nation. This is the exactly meaning of the nationalism. So, I think you got it, you are getting my point what I am saying, and you also understood about it, the national meaning of the nationalism, that is the loyalty and devotion to a nation, okay, and devotion. So, that is the meaning, okay. But let us start how it was started. What is the reason behind rise of nationalism in India? You know very well about the Britishers. When Britishers entered in India, they achieved political and economic centralization of India for the better exploitation and control of India, iteratively led to the growth of national consciousness and birth of the national movement. And these kind of activities were the reason of nationalism, national movement. And national movement it was begin with the campaign and struggle for the social reforms in the 19th century. So, you know very well why they was started. So, you know the way, but nationalism, national movement, when was in the peak? With the return of Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi, when Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi, you know very well, came to India, and you can say with the return of Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi from South Africa in 1915, and his leadership of Indian national movement in 1919, the Indian nationalism entered in a mass phase. The Gopal Gokhale was the political teacher of the Mahatma Gandhi, you know very well. So, prior to Gandhi, prominent leaders like Dadabhai Naroji, Gopal Gokhale, Bal Gangadhar Tilak, Lal Lajpat Rai, and Bipin Chandra Pal and others took the early initiative to educate the Indians about their national identity and colonial exploitation. These kind of activities were going on that time. So, this is the little introduction about it, but now let us start the basic reasons and major reasons behind the rise of nationalism in India. So, first reason was socio economic background. Okay, like implication of new land tenure of new land tenure system, and second is the laissez-faire policy. Laissez, it means free without any custom duty. So, laissez-faire policy and deindustrialization. I will explain, okay, one by one. Industrialization, so this is the reason of this, and you know also the famine and immigration of Indians to the overseas British colony. So, third reason was famine. Famines and immigration. Immigration of Indians to the overseas British colonies and indentured labor, and a major reason was, second major reason was Western education and its impact also. The part of this, these are part of the socio-economic background, and second is Western education was also the reason of rise of nationalism, because you know education in pre-British India was not so good. So, that was the reason, and contribution of state Macaulay system of the education, you heard about it, and the role of educated middle classes you will study in this phase, and contribution of missionaries. And the third reason was social and religious reforms was also reason of the nationalism, and last was the other disease factors of rise of nationalism, like a memories of the 1857. You heard about this revolt, and you know British of Indian Association, birth of the Indian Association. So, these are reason of the nationalism. So, let us start one by one, and so first is the implication of new land tenure system. So, you know when British came to India and they destroyed implication of new land tenure. Britisher destroyed traditional land tenure system of India, what was going on at that time, and they started their own land tenure system, like they started the fixed taxes, and they applied the fixed taxes and they started to, sometimes you can say ki, कि उन्होंने ऐसा कर दिया है कि अगर कोई भी फेलियर ऑफ क्रॉप फेल हो रहा है या कोई ऐसी चीज़ हो रही है, लाइक आपको प्रॉब्लम आ रही है कि आपकी क्रॉप खराब हो गई या कोई प्राइस फॉल इन प्राइस एंड ड्रॉट आर फ्लड, दैट काइंड ऑफ डिसास्टर अगर कोई होता है तो दे did not used to give relief any kind of, but अगर हम ट्रेडिशनल लैंड टेन्योर सिस्टम पर जाते हैं, सो यू ऑल्सो स्टडीड अबाउट इट कि किंग कहीं ना कहीं रिलीफ देता था उसको कि ठीक है यू कैन डू एंड no issue because failure of the crop and flood and any kind of disaster. So अगर ऐसा कुछ हुआ है तो देने की ज़रूरत नहीं है, but they fixed, British fixed the land revenue in cash without any regards to various contingencies such as a failure crop, drought, fall in price, that kind of disaster. कुछ भी हो, but they fixed, and you have the Indian people had to give them the revenue, taxes. So after some time they the people of India understood about it कि I think they cheated us. There were also two other major implications of new land settlement introduced by the British East India Company. So that is the reason of the nationalism. Okay. And second was, I told you, the second was laissez-faire. Laissez-faire, it means free trade. Free trade and deindustrialization. So you know the policy of company in the wake of industrial revolution in England result in the deindustrialization of India. In England industrialization was going on and industrialization revolution was going on, but in India deindustrialization was going on, and this kind of activity they continued until the beginning of World War I, and the British government pursued a policy of a free trade or laissez-faire. Raw material like a cotton and jute and silk इस टाइप की जो इंडिया से था वो टेकन टू ब्रिटेन, and the finished product made from those raw materials were then transported back to the Indian market. So I think this was not fair. So I think this is also the reason of nationalism. And you know, I think you got it. And next point is famines and immigration. Third one is famines and immigration of Indian overseas British colonies. So famine, you heard about this word, I think. So as India became increasingly deindustrialized, I told you, and weavers and artisans engaged in handicrafts were thrown out of employment. There were recurrent famine due to the neglect of irrigation and oppressive taxation on land. That is the main reason. And before arrival of British, Indian rulers had emirates the difficulties of the populace in time the famines by the providing tax relief, regulating the grain prices and banning food export from the famine hit areas. But the British extended their policy of non-intervention, laissez-faire, even to famines, you know. So, as a result, millions of people died of starvation during the Raj, it means British Raj. So, it has been estimated that between 1770 to 1900 the 25 million Indian dead in famines. And you heard about this person I am telling about, that man, that was William C. Digby. He was the editor of Madras Times. He was also Englishman, but he pointed out that during 1793 to 1900 alone, an estimated 5 million people had died in all wars around the world. मतलब पूरे वर्ल्ड में केवल 5 मिलियन लोग मरे और भारत में 25 मिलियन पीपल मर रहा है. दैट दिस इज नॉट फेयर, दिस इज नॉट गुड. ये ठीक नहीं था, अच्छा नहीं था, प्रॉब्लम्स थी इसमें. So that was the major reason of the nationalism. And during the 1866 Odisha famine for the instance, while a million and half people starved to death, the British exported 200 million pounds of rice to Britain. People were dying here in India, but they were exporting continuously. They didn't think about the Indian people, they are starving or not. They are dying. We should stop export, but they didn't do. And the Odisha famine prompted nationalist Dadabhai Naoroji to begin his lifelong investigation into Indian poverty. Dadabhai Naoroji thought, what was the reason behind the poverty, Indian poverty? Why poverty is increasing day by day? So, Dadabhai Naoroji started investigation, and the failure of two successive monsoon caused a severe famine in Madras Presidency during 1876 and 78. The Viceroy Lytton adopted a handoff approach similar to the followed in the Odisha. They acted very well. Britisher acted very well. बहुत अच्छा एक्ट करते थे कि लाइक कुछ प्रॉब्लम आ रही हाथ उठा लेते थे, हमारी प्रॉब्लम नहीं है, दिस इज नॉट आवर प्रॉब्लम, दिस इज योर प्रॉब्लम, आवर वर्क इज एक्सपोर्ट एंड इम्पोर्ट, सो वी आर डूइंग दिस. सो दिस काइंड ऑफ, तो ये इसमें जब पूरा एक एस्टिमेट बनाया गया, अनएस्टिमेटेड 3.5 मिलियन पीपल डेड इन मद्रास प्रेसिडेंसी. सो दैट इज द रीजन. And they started again indentured labor. Heard about the indentured labor? The introduction of plantation crops such as coffee, tea, sugar in empire colonies such as Ceylon, Sri Lanka, Mauritius, Fiji, Malaya and the Caribbean island and South Africa required enormous labor. But I think you don't know about the indentured labor. Indentured labor, it means contract based labor, contract based labor. So, in 1815, the governor of Madras received a communication from the governor of Ceylon asking for a coolie to work on the coffee plantation, and the Madras governor forwarded this letter to the collector of Tanjore. So, who reported that people were very much attached to their soil, and unless some initiative was provided, it was not easy to make them move out of their native soil. It means आपको होता ना कि अपने कंट्री से बहुत लव है, प्यार है, मैं अपनी कंट्री नहीं छोड़ सकता, तो उस टाइप का है. मद्रास कलेक्टर ऑफ मद्रास रिपोर्टेड टू मद्रास गवर्नर and said that they are very attached to their soil. So, we should start some kind of initiative like कुछ इन्हें प्रोवाइड कराया जाए जिसके लालच, इट मीन्स कुछ ऐसा किया जाए जिससे कि एक उसकी वजह से दे कैन मूव, अदरवाइज दे कांट मूव. But the outbreak of two famine 1813 and 1843 forced the people without any prompting from the government to leave the Ceylon to work as a coolie in the coffee and plantation under the indentured labor system. जब ये फेमाइन आया ना 1833 एंड 1843, तो लोगों को जब खाने के नहीं पड़ेंगे, खाने को नहीं मिलेगा, तो क्या करेगा आदमी, कुछ ना कुछ सोचेगा, कर ही लेते हैं. ये केवल आम पीपल के नहीं, आर्मी को जो सोल्जर्स थे दे वर वर्किंग, जो इनके उसमें वर्क कर रहे थे, उनको भी नहीं छोड़ा इन्होंने. सो फर्स्ट, लेकिन इनका फर्स्ट क्या था, फर्स्ट इन स्टार्टेड कैसे ये चालू, जो एक इनकी एक बहुत क्लेवर सोच थी, बहुत चालू थे लोग. First, they abolition of slavery in British India in 1843, इसमें abolish कर दिया, and also facilitated the processes of immigration to empire colonies. In 1837, the number of immigrant Tamil laborers employed in Ceylon coffee estate was estimated at the 10,000. ऐसे भेजना स्टार्ट किया, they started, लेकिन at least मैं आपको बता दें इसमें लगभग कितने पीपल्स जो थे जो वापस नहीं आए, ख़त्म हो गए, इसमें डेथ हो गई उनकी. तो in 1843 was officially reported that 30,218 male and 4,307 female had entered Mauritius as indentured labor by the end of the century. Some 5 lakh laborers had moved from the India to Mauritius. बट इसके बाद इनकी डेथ होना शुरू हो गई, वापस नहीं आए. दैट इज़ द रीज़न ऑफ, ऑल्सो द रीज़न ऑफ द नेशनलिज्म. And now the major part of this, Western education and its impact. Western education and its impact. That was the major reason of the nationalism also. In this topic, we will study about education in pre-British India. So, education in pre-colonial India was characterized by segmentation along religious and caste lines. You know very well, among the Hindus, Brahmins had the exclusive privilege to acquire higher religious and philosophical knowledge, So they monopolized the education system and the occupied position in the society primarily as the priest and teacher. So Britisher were Britisher wanted to take benefit from this situation, because the other lower caste were traveling and were thinking about कि we are not able to take any kind of knowledge, because Brahmins and Kshatris monopoly was going on that time. So they think this is the very good for us, and lower caste were thinking, and everyone I think thinks about it because if you are not getting a proper facilities देन अदर्स, जो दूसरे मिल रहे हैं वो आपको नहीं मिल रहा, तो आई थिंक आप भी उसमें क्या करेंगे कि कुछ आप उसमें भड़केंगे. सेम सिचुएशंस वर गोइंग ऑन एंड यू नो वेरी वेल. सो इसका फ़ायदा जो है इन्होंने पूरी तरीके से उठाया इन्होंने. सो ब्रिटिशर टुक एडवांटेज of this traditional system, education system. So you know about name of the Macaulay, a contribution of colonial state Macaulay system was education. You know the English Education Act was passed by the Council of India 1835, and because Macaulay drafted this system education introduced in India. And you know who was the Macaulay? T.V. Macaulay was India's first law member of the Governor General in Council from 1834 to 1838. So before Macaulay arrived, India's General Committee of the Public Interaction was formed in 1823. with the responsibility to guide the East India Company on the matter of the education and the medium of instruction. So I am telling you about the education system, why Macaulay wanted to start in India, why Macaulay give the effort. So I will let you know what is the reason behind the Western education. So you know very well, the British wanted to create an educated Indian middle class for their own ends, but you didn't know the reason behind it. दैट वेरी दे वांटेड कि जो लोग होंगे वो पूरी तरीके से इंडियन तो होंगे, लेकिन वो कलर से और फेस ब्लड से, इनका मेन मतलब था कि वेस्टर्न एजुकेशन ही इज़ 19 बिहाइंड सपोर्टिंग द, कह सकते हैं कि ही वांटेड टू क्रिएट अ क्लास ऑफ पर्सन फ्रॉम द विद इन इंडिया हु वुड बी इंडियन इन ब्लड एंड कलर, बट इंग्लिश इन टेस्ट, इन ओपिनियन एंड इन मोरल एंड इन इंटेलेक्ट. हर तरीके से वो ब्रिटिश रहेगा, बट ब्लड से और कलर से वो इंडियन रहेगा. बट इसका फ़ायदा उठाया इन्होंने, रोल ऑफ एडुकेटेड मिडिल क्लासेस. इन्होंने इसमें बहुत सारे लॉयर हुए, बहुत सारे डॉक्टर हुए, बहुत सारे प्रोफेसर बने. एंड लाइक आप इसमें ऑफिस के बाद बहुत सारे लोग हमारे यहाँ भी पहले से कुछ थे जो नॉलेजेबल थे. राजा राम मोहन रॉय, ईश्वर चंद विद्यासागर, स्वामी विवेकानंद, अरविंदो घोष, गोपाल कृष्ण गोखले, दादा भाई नरोजी, फिरोज शाह मेहता, and Surendranath Banerjee and others who belong to the modern Indian intelligentsia led to the social, religious and political movement in India. तो इन लोगों ने उनको अपने साथ लेके आया और स्टार्ट करा दिया. तो दिस इज़ द रीज़न. एंड कंट्रीब्यूशन ऑफ मिशनरीज, मिशनरीज का जो सोशल रिफॉर्म्स में काम आए, सो कंट्रीब्यूशन ऑफ मिशनरीज ऑल्सो. अब कंट्रीब्यूशन ऑफ मिशनरीज का क्या है रीज़न, वाई ये कैसे रीज़न बन सकता है? बिकॉज आप जानते हैं कि यहाँ पर क्रिश्चियन मिशनरीज है इंडिया में, एंड इंस्पायर्ड बाय द, कह सकते जब यहाँ पर आए तो इन्होंने थोड़ा सा लोगों को एक एजुकेशन के थ्रू बताना स्टार्ट किया कि वाई क्रिश्चियनिटी इट इज़ वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट एंड हाउ वी कैन हेल्प यू एंड हाउ वी आर सपोर्टिंग यू. तो हम कैसे कर रहे हैं आपका सपोर्ट एंड आपको क्या मिल रहा है, तो एंड वी आर वेरी साइंटिफिक. तो बिकॉज ये साइंस को ज़्यादा वैल्यू देते थे, तो दैट इज़ द रीज़न. एंड इसकी वजह से फिर बहुत सारे हमारे यहाँ भी रिफॉर्म्स हुए, जैसे कि आर्य समाज, प्रार्थना समाज, ब्रह्म समाज, राजा राम मोहन रॉय, यू नो वेरी वेल, ब्रह्मो समाज वॉज फाउंडेड बाय द राजा राम मोहन रॉय इन 1828. And that was the social reform and religious reform you can say. And Prarthana Samaj 1867, the Arya Samaj was founded by founded subsequently. आप इसमें आर्य समाज का देखें तो ये सारी चीज़ें स्टार्ट हो गई, केशव चंद्र विद्यासागर ये सारे इसमें काम करने लगे. एंड द मेजर कि मुझे जो लगता है सबसे द मेमोरीज ऑफ 1857, memories of 1857, the most important reason of the nationalism. Indian national movement dates its birth from the 1857 uprising. So that is, you know, heard about it and you also studied about it. And next is racial discrimination is also the part of this, invoking India's glorious and the also a role of praise. Why the role of praise was the reason of rise of nationalism. So you know very well in this age, in this era, the Britisher suppressed the role of praise. And next reason is Madras Native Association, you know, birth of Indian associations. So Madras of Native Association, MNA, you heard about that name, MNA. One of the first attempts to organize the vent of grievance against the British came through the formation the Madras Native Association on 26th February 1852. सो ये स्टार्ट हुआ मद्रास से एंड इसके अगर चेयरमैन या कुछ उनकी बात करें फाउंडर तो गजुला लक्ष्मीना सरू was the founder of MNA. And after MNA, Congress founded, Indian National Congress, INC. जो हमारी कांग्रेस पार्टी बनी उसमें शुरुआत हुई हमारी इंडियन नेशनल कांग्रेस INC की, उसकी स्टार्ट हुई, उसका आइडिया वहीं से है. हिंदी स्टार्ट पीपल सोचने लगे थे, दे वर अबाउट टू थिंक कि वी शुड ऑर्गेनाइज and we need organization, because without organization we can't move a single step. Like अगर नहीं करते हैं तो 1857 जैसा कुछ हाल होगा. So they thought about it and they started. So the MNA कैसे INC का एक बर्थ देने वाला है. तो वहीं से ये जो आइडिया आया. सो MNA was the MNA, you can say MNA was the founder of, एक तरीके से देख लें, the INC. INC का फाउंडर है, बट AO होम यू नो वेरी वेल अबाउट द AO होम एंड बनर्जी। सो ये जो हमारे इस पे आया, सो ये हमारे ए होम के फिर इसमें 1885 में इंडियन नेशनल कांग्रेस जो WC बनर्जी और ए होम ने इसका वो किया। एंड WC बनर्जी को आप जानते हैं कि हमारे जो ह्यूम के बाद जो हमारे बनर्जी थे वॉज इलेक्टेड द फर्स्ट प्रेसिडेंट ऑफ द INC। So that was these kind of movements and activities were the reason of rise of nationalism. Okay, so this is so बाकी की जो चीज़ें हैं we will study in next topic. Okay guys, thank you, bye bye, take care.